Hello, it's Richard Wilson. Today I want to talk to you about the 5 things you can do to make sure that your family office is successful. I've been working with family offices for over 7 years. I'm currently writing a book through Wiley on family office best practices, and I actually just got done completing 36 recorded audio phone interviews with family offices from all over the world, including the United States, Canada, Australia, Dubai, Israel, Singapore, Monaco, all over Europe, including here in Zurich, Switzerland, where I'm recording this video. And many of those people told me the best practices of running a family office and what they've learned by running one. And what was really exciting about doing these interviews is that we interviewed several of the top 30 and top 50 family offices in the world. So these weren't just startup family offices or wannabe emerging family offices. These were some of the most well-known, well-regarded family offices in the whole world. So the best practices they shared with me are actually really valuable business practices, I think, for any multifamily office to really pay attention to and try to implement. So I'd like to share those with you here today. The first one, which, well, first off, all of these might seem obvious, but I think that all great truths are very simple and usually aren't something new, but it's something very fundamental you need to focus on every single day and execute on every single day, and not just know, but actually act on. So to start with, here's a great example, because the first strategy is to always put clients first. And that might seem obvious, but in business, that's often very hard to do when you're choosing being more profitable or putting clients first, or having to lay somebody off on your team versus having to disappoint a client. If someone on your team is consistently not serving clients in the way that your brand is supposed to represent a high level of service, that person might need to go, and that's a hard decision to make. But putting clients first is something that's come up again and again within these interviews and within my experiences of working with family offices. The whole point of a family office is to give supreme service for a premium price, so that has to be there. The second thing is to make sure that you put talent before growth. When I was interviewing a family office in Australia last week, they were telling me how their number one bottleneck of growth is finding great, experienced talent. And when I was interviewing another top 50 family office out of Seattle last week, they were telling me as well that finding talent who actually can understand what an ultra-wealthy family needs, but explain it in layman terms so that the family can understand the decision and can understand what's going on, is so hard to find. Most people don't have the experience or the ability to explain it in simple terms, or they don't have the relationship skills that are needed. It's a really complex topic, and you have to be able to wear many different hats to work in a family office. So putting talent in front of percentage point growth or dollar profit growth is something that I've picked up as a best practice from many family offices. The third thing is to always listen carefully to your clients. This again might seem like the most simple piece of advice, but many times you might take a lot of care in setting up your multifamily office offering, but after launching, you're running with it, things are going well, you might stop listening to clients as closely as you might have when you're a bit more hungry to start the business or get your first few clients. And this is a tip that I directly got from a few different people, actually. My family actually has a history of raising capital from ultra high net worth individuals. My father has raised over $1 billion from ultra high net worths. And it's funny, he's constantly telling me that listening is one of the most important skills that everybody ignores. I mean, few people ever get real training on public speaking, but nobody gets training on listening or how to listen better, right? But he's always been telling me that for the past 5 or 7 years. And then I was interviewing Charles Grace, who's actually one of his family members was a owner of Bethlehem Steel, which is a pretty well-known kind of founding fathers type huge business from the United States. And he started Ashbridge, one of the first real multifamily offices, and now he's a director at Threshold. But Charles Grace told me that his number one piece of advice to family offices who want to be very successful is to listen. Listen to your clients, actually take notes on what they're saying, use their feedback, integrate it in how you're serving them, and react to what they're telling you. I think that's really powerful advice, and I guess hearing it from someone who isn't a family member of mine really drove the point home that, this person was probably the most experienced family office professional I interviewed out of the 36 interviews I just completed. He's internationally known as being a leader in the family office space, and he's now a director at Threshold, one of the top 50 family offices. So the advice couldn't have came from a more valuable source than Charles Grace, and listening is what he suggested. So I suggest all of us try to get better at listening. Another couple of tips here, just two more and we're done, is to protect and inform your clients consistently. Protect them by actually doing the thorough due diligence needed. Check every detail, check every box, don't skip over steps, and make sure that you either hire someone who's very thorough or you have very thorough processes in place at the family office. And that goes along with my final tip, which is to run the multifamily office like a well-oiled machine. Everything that you guys do should be consistent for every client, not just for compliance reasons or customer satisfaction reasons, but it also will help you keep more sane as things get busy. If you have a documented checklist for exactly what needs to be done when you first meet with a client, or what needs to be done when a new client comes on board, or how is risk and performance measured month to month for every single client, or how is reporting done for every client every quarter. Every person in your organization should have 10, 15, 20 processes that are very step-by-step documented. So if they leave, someone else comes in and they can look at the 15 or 20 processes, follow the checklist of what to do, and sure, there'll always be some exceptions and some custom rules and some things that don't apply to that checklist. But 80% of somebody's job should be boiled down to a number of checklists so that everything in your family office is ran like a well-oiled machine instead of a lot of shooting from the hip and guessing and reacting and putting out fires. So I hope you enjoyed these best practices on how to grow your multifamily office. This is Richard Wilson coming to you from Zurich, Switzerland this time, and I'll keep in touch.